Hi everyone, I hope you had a good Memorial Day. For those of you who are not familiar with this holiday, it is a federal holiday in the United States for honoring and mourning the U.S. military personnel who have died while serving the United States. This is the day we pay homage to all those who didn't come home. I would like to pause for a few seconds to remember these heroes. Thank you everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday 10 at 10. We are going to be answering questions on damaged starch, stabilizers, and crackers today. So let's get started with the first question. For our first question, our learner asks, is damaged starch good or bad in bakery product processing? Well, first, let's understand what damaged starch is. Damaged starch is the portion of the starch in the kernel that is physically broken or fragmented during wheat milling. All wheat flours have a certain level of damaged starch. During roller milling, the whole wheat kernel is broken down into smaller pieces. This process of particle reduction is obtained in stages over a few roller mills. As the larger wheat particles are ground into finer flour particles, there are accidental fractures and breaking of starch granules. At these fissures or broken starch granules, the main starch components, amylose and amylopectin, escapes. Because these two macromolecules are water-loving, they bind immediately to the water that is in your dough and increases the tightness of the dough. The real negative impact is when your operator feels the dough, determines it too dry, and starts adding more water to get the feel that they desire for machinability. By adding this much water, especially where it doesn't go to gluten hydration, the water will dilute the gluten network and create excessive stickiness at the dough divider and rounder. In addition, since the gluten network is diluted, you will have volume issues and a gummier final crumb that makes it stick to the slicer blades. Oh, and you might need to bake out your bread even more because this much water causes insulation in your dough and creates a slow bake out. Whether damaged starch is good or bad would depend on your water absorption. As mentioned previously, the amylose and the amylopectin creeps out of the broken starch granules and starts competing immediately for water. Damaged starch absorbs up to 3 times more water than undamaged starch. Damaged starch is not all bad. Here's the good part. A higher amount of damaged starch would allow the yeast to react quicker, so there will be an increase in yeast activity. This in return releases more simple sugar, which improves the Maillard browning reaction. To summarize, if damaged starch is high, you will get a stickier dough, lack of volume, and higher density. Stickier crumb. Also, you will have slicing problems, and it will take longer to bake. I hope this answers your question on whether damaged starch is good or bad in baking. Next, someone asked, what type of stabilizers, besides corn flour, can be used in cheesecake? Typical American cheesecakes have cream cheese as the main ingredient at about 70% of the formulation. Together with sugar and whole eggs, the total solids of this system make it very stable. Further stabilizers, or cornstarch, are not needed. The need for such stabilizers arises only if the system has a reduced amount of total solids. For example, if you use a cheaper source of cream cheese that has a higher water content, or if you add more whole eggs where the liquid in the eggs dilute the total solids. The only way to stabilize a system that has reduced solids is to add starches or pre-gel starches like cornstarch, wheat starch, or even just all-purpose flour. Emulsifiers like mono and diglycerides may help also. You can use flour or starches up to 5% total formulation or emulsifiers at up to 1%. Up next, we have a question concerning crackers. Our crackers are developing black spots. What could be the issue? Here are 2 things to consider. Are these spots present before the bake? Or do you see the spots on the cracker after it exits from the oven? If the spots are present before the bake, you may have a product contamination on your hands. Check to see if it could be coming from any equipment by running your product through a metal detector. Check all equipment to make sure that nothing is grinding together to create metal shavings or metal particles. If it happens after bake, it could be a chemical reaction with the baking soda or a base like ammonium bicarbonate. Remove the base and determine what is reacting with it from a process of elimination. Slowly add it back in to determine at what level it contributes to the spotting. Usually, adding an acid would improve the interaction and reduce the spotting. All right, let's go for one more question on today's Tuesday 10 at 10. Someone asks, can I replace egg whites with whey protein isolate or vital wheat gluten in keto bread? egg whites are structurally very functional by improving the strength of the dough, improving foaming properties, binding water, and gelling. Therefore, whatever protein substitution you choose, it must also replace all these functions. The best replacement would be in the form of a protein isolate, a fiber, or a hydrocolloid. For more information, please download our Baker Papers on our Academy. They will provide you with more information on how to replace eggs with allergen and non-allergen solutions. It's not an easy thing to do, but good luck. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining me for Tuesday 10 at 10. Have a good week, bakers.